Hi, my name is Erin and I'm a Nutrition Program Associate at the University of Missouri Extension, and we're partnering with Harvesters, the Community Food Network, to bring you a series of videos. And today we'll be doing a sweet potato and apple bake, and it's really delicious and perfect for the fall time. It serves 4 and it has all these cool ingredients here. Let's get started. So, for this recipe, you will need 2 Granny Smith apples, but you can use whatever kind you have on hand. I usually just buy whatever's cheapest at the store, whatever's on sale in a particular week. 3 sweet potatoes, some cinnamon. I have 2 tablespoons here, but it's all up to your taste. I need a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and a 1/2 cup of butter or margarine, and that's all we need. Before we get started with cooking, we're going to want to make sure that we wash our hands and make sure that all of our surfaces are clean. So with hand washing, we want to wash with warm soapy water for 20 seconds. And then with our produce, we want to make sure that our apples are clean by running it under cool water. And then we can scrub our sweet potatoes also under cool water. We don't need any chemicals to wash them. It's actually preferable if you don't wash with any chemicals or soaps or anything like that. Water will do. Now that everything is clean, we can get to cooking. So we're going to start by preheating the oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to bake our sweet potatoes until we can pierce them with a fork. Our next step, once you have a baked sweet potato, or 3 for this recipe, we're going to want to peel it and then chop it into 1/2-inch slices, and then we're just going to layer it into this dish and make it look all nice. So if you have a cool peeler like this, that's great. Otherwise, you can use a little tiny paring knife, and that also works. Or even a butter knife. All right, so I'll just move these scraps out of the way. And then we're just gonna chop it into little 1/2-inch slices. And when you're chopping, you want to make sure that you use a sharp knife if you have one, because a dull knife is actually a lot more dangerous than a sharp knife, because that can slip on things like tomatoes or even potatoes. And if you don't have a sharp knife, then baking ahead of time, like what we're doing for this recipe, helps a lot, because it's super easy to cut through when they're half-baked. We also like to say that it's important to chop with a claw with your hand like this, so that you don't slice the tip of your finger. Okay, now we're just going to arrange it in here. So after you have your sweet potatoes peeled and sliced, you're going to want to go over to your Granny Smith apples, and we're going to also do 1/2-inch slices. So the way that I like to do it is to quarter it off and get it on all sides so I have a flat surface to cut on first. And now that everything is in our dish, we're ready to sprinkle on our topping so it tastes extra good. We have our 1/2 cup of butter or margarine, and it's a little bit softened, but if you want it melted, that's fine too. I kind of like to just put little pats everywhere, and it just melts down in there once it gets into the oven. And you can use the entire 1/2 cup if you like, but I usually use a little less myself. Then we're gonna sprinkle on our sugar, and this is a 1/4 cup of sugar. So I might not use this entire thing either. Now it's time for cinnamon. And the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons, but you can use, again, as little or as much as you want. And now it's time to bake it. And after 20 minutes, you'll have this magical looking dish come out of your oven. It has that nice golden brown crust on the top from the butter and the brown sugar mixing together and caramelizing. And it just smells really, really heavenly. So if you don't end up having apples and you still want to make this dish, you can probably use pears, especially canned pears. Those would also work, even if they're in the little chunks. And my own personal variation is to add walnuts if you have them, and some of those dried cranberries, and I just sprinkle those on top for an extra sweetness and an extra crunch. But there you have it. Thanks for tuning in on this Harvesters and MU Extension collaboration, and we'll see you next time.